So the fight started, and of course, Islam has got way better on the feet. He looked slick. He landed a nice flush left hand, backed Dustin up against the fence, got the single leg, worked him down, got on top, side control, almost snapped the arm with a Kimura, but Dustin Poirier managed to scramble out of it.
Within the first 30 seconds, gets a single leg. Khabib used to do it too. He gets a single leg, and people do the right defense. They put the foot on the outside of the leg, and they think they're doing the right defense, and he steps his hips in the middle, and he gets a lift, and he scoops the ankle. Boom. Khabib used to do the same thing too, and they're so strong doing that. Takes him down, lands on top, half guard, one of his best positions, 30 seconds into the fight.
And when he's doing the body triangle, he's also compressing on Dustin Poirier's diaphragm. It's a horrible position to be in because you can't get something off your back.
So he's squeezing Dustin's guts, and it is taking a lot of energy from his legs, but still making it hard for Dustin to breathe. And Dustin stayed patient. Very easily, he could be like, oh, well, just let him choke me and this is all over. Fought through it. Dustin is an OG.
And Dustin's good on the ground. He's good. And he survived some of those situations. But, that's what happens when, you're surviving, but time's going out and you're losing. And you could see the level of what Islam brings on the ground is a real problem for everybody. It's a problem for everybody.
Round two, this time they go out there, Dustin Poirier defends the takedown, and this round was a lot closer. Don't get me wrong, Islam was still in control. He was still winning the fight on points, but Dustin was starting to warm up. He was starting to defend the takedowns, and he was starting to land.
After the first round that was completely dominant for us, the second round, Dustin adjusted, and we were having a little tougher time looking to take him down, so it was one of those situations where we had to readjust, and as a matter of fact, that was one of the closest rounds, and if it didn't go our way that round, I can understand why. It was a very close round.
Round three, kind of more of the same. A big knee for Islam Makhachev, timed it perfectly. Dustin ripping to the body. These guys now really fighting with everything they had, fighting on instinct, skill, technique, heart, dedication, discipline, all the rest of it, whatever you want to call it. These men were in there fighting their goddamn asses off.
Because after the third round, guys, they didn't show it on the TV. Khabib storms the octagon, gets right in Islam's face because you saw Dustin kind of tell him, let's go. Islam was like, okay. And Khabib told him, no. When that happens, you need to take him down. It's too risky to be standing in front of him.
And at the end of round three, there's blood pouring all over the place. Dustin Poirier grabbing at his eye because one of the punches, obviously, the knuckle got him right in the eyeball. Listen, back and forth they went.
I do think, as impressed as I am with Islam, I also think there's a stubbornness, and that could be a double-edged sword. And I think there was an ego. When Dustin told him yesterday, you're going to lay dive the whole time, and Islam assured him, at some point in this fight, I will not. At some point, I will play your game. He did that. And I don't think he, in the future, should fall for those kinds of things. He should go out there and do his fight. And that's ultra-critical, Lord.
Yeah.
But you have to be critical. This guy is fantastic.
Islam had to dig deep tonight. I think it was a good show of character for him. I can sit here and tell you guys all day long how great he is on the ground. We all know how good he is. But I've always said this, and I've said it forever. His stand-up is drastically underrated.
Yeah.
It's very underrated. Now,
Absolutely.
I think not only is his stand-up underrated, but what it is that people have to respect his wrestling so much, and you could see it all night tonight, especially in the first three, almost 4 rounds. Dustin would throw, and then he'd stop in the middle of his throw because he was waiting for the takedown attempts. So he would throw the 1 and the 2, and then it was like he would pause for a second to see if he should throw the 3. And then that's when Islam was able to counter, or he was able to at least feint something that made him react and then made Dustin circle out. And then he never really got off enough that would land enough to really do any damage to Islam or to really make him concerned about much.
Dustin was in so good of a shape and so mentally clear and focused that he was able to kind of reset each round and keep himself in the fight. No matter what went on that round, Islam had his back for 5 whole minutes, no problem. Breathe through it. By minute 15, that wrestling isn't going to be the same. And it's going to eventually become you two standing up, and he can do what Dustin does, kind of put that sprint on him, put him away. The sprint never came, and Dustin maybe it was a little bit too late.
these guys, Khabib, Islam, they will shoot 100 times, and if you defend 99 of them, they're going to shoot one more time just in case to see if they can get it right. And that's what makes these guys so dangerous. Yeah, of course, I shoot and you defend the first one, you defend the second one, you defend the fifth one, you defend the eighth one. But guess what? When the ninth one lands, you're going to be absolutely exhausted. And when I get on top, I'm going to make you pay for it.
To seal the deal, to wrap up the fight, Makhachev did get the DAS. Close the show. It was, and the way he did it, that transition, that single leg failed, reshot to a low single, to that drag out, mate. It was textbook.
Islam hit him with that beautiful leg drag where he grabbed the leg and he swung around. It basically takes you off your balance. I've been hit with it a couple times in the gym. They used to do it with my hands, and it just throws your body around. Islam hit him with that, and Dustin went flying, and then Islam followed him up, grabbed the guillotine, and sat down and slowly worked in that Darce choke, Darce or Anaconda, whatever way you want to call it, worked in a Darce choke, and then that made Dustin Poirier tap because he had the leg, and he had him hunched, and there was nowhere else for Dustin to go.
I'm telling you, the squeeze of Islam Makhachev, when he's got it locked in with the technique that he has, listen, it's no surprise that Dustin Poirier tapped. But he only just managed to tap. It was right at the end. All he had left was some little fingers just to do that. The referee stopped the fight, and then Dustin Poirier, boom, momentarily lost his consciousness.
I gotta say, he pulled off one of the most beautiful Russian ankle ties. Because that's like the Russian wrist tie that you whip around. He did the same maneuver on the leg. And that was how he got that. And that was beautifully done. And I think DC said, these are things you don't see. And he's right. You don't see those things.
No, you don't. No.
That was absolutely a beautiful technique at a time when he was tired. And, things could have gone bad for him because he was taking shots. The elbow had cut him open in the earlier round. Everything, you look at and you go, and that's why you're a champion.
I feel like I could have did more. I said that in the Khabib fight as well. I could have picked up the volume, took more chances on the feet. He was just similar to Khabib, moving weird. His cadence was weird. His head movement was weird. I felt good with the takedown defense. He was strong. His foot sweeps were what was giving me trouble. Even if I got back to my feet, he was able to time my balance and really get me up. And then in the last takedown was kind of like an ankle pick, low single that he sweeped or kind of lifted, and it took me off my feet, and that's kind of what led to the end.
And I think my mistake in this fight, I have to believe my striking more, because I show my striking today. I stay within and if I landed a lot of good punches, honestly. The first punches I almost knock him down, and if I believe more, I think I can knock him out today, but it's okay. I'm happy to finish him in the ground.
Yeah, no, I think that for Islam, I think he's going to realize that he has much better striking, perhaps than he even knew. I think his ability to avoid some of the long-range strikes, to get into the pocket and land some good body shots, really have more confidence with his strikes on the feet, particularly his boxing, his ability to move his head off the center line, move his body off the center line, land shots to the inside, land shots from the outside. His hooks were landing extremely well, were hurting Dustin Poirier. So I think that he's going to find even more comfort coming off of that knockout win over Volkanovski, that he is a threat on the feet as well.
And I think Islam, it's surprising because we all thought if the fight stays on the feet, then obviously Dustin Poirier is probably going to win. And the fight was starting to be on the feet more and more. I think it was 5 out of 15 takedown attempts that Dustin was able to stop. But Islam did get him down in every single round. And of course, in the 5th round, that's when he got the finish. But it was exciting stuff. Dustin Poirier left it all out there.
But my biggest takeaway from this fight was Islam Makhachev's ability at that stage of that type of fight to still find that type of takedown and that type of submission. And so much of the lead up centered on Islam Makhachev's submission offense and just how good it was. And over 25 minutes, he found one yet again.